Can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope, she bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The ULM mention is the greatest.
This is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast, powered by WarhawkReport.com.
With hosts Dusty Thibodeaux and Chase Regian. More important than baseball. Sorry, Ford.
Oh, what on earth did I just walk into?
I think I'm doing this right, but he's yelling at me, so I'm not. And so,
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
So was that actually y'all's idea? That's awesome.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Everyone always wants to know what's going on at scrimmages. But Chase, you played in scrimmages. Did they really matter?
I felt like big timey there. Be like, nah, Tibbs, I didn't have to play in any of the scrimmages. Yeah, they matter, especially during camp, dude. Yeah, you'll see some decisions being made in these first few 100% of if there's anybody close to a job. I mean, they're fighting for jobs out there.
Well, voice of the Warhawks, the man, the myth, the legend, that being Mike Hammett, was at the scrimmage. Mike, were you able to make heads and tails of what this team's going to look like, and maybe are we a 6-win or not a 6-win team this year?
Oh, there's certainly a chance to get there. And, not even taken from the scrimmage. Just think about this. You're playing one money game this year, and you have 6 home games. In the past, you have 2 money games. You have to go 6-4 in the rest of that schedule to do it. This year, you got to go 6-5. So you got a little more margin for error anyway. So that helps. And having 6 at home, it's something that doesn't happen a lot in this program. So, take care of business at home. Maybe you steal 1 on the road. Maybe you steal 2 on the road. Give you a little more wiggle room. So I like those chances a lot better, and especially get that money game out of the way. Week 1, it's done. Move on. You got 11 games against teams at your level. The one at FCS, though, that's a really good Southeastern team. So, that's what I'm excited about. I feel like the depth is better this year. I said this last year, but I feel like it's even better this year. I think maybe the thing that stood out to me was the speed. I felt like maybe this team's a bit faster than it's been, too. Guys kind of flying around and doing some things. So it could also be that it seems like the scrimmages are going to be the only times they put on full pads in camp, too. So that could have had something to do with it, that they had the full pads on and going at it. So may have had some guys fired up and excited. But, this is, I think, a real chance this year. I think depth is better. I think speed is better, which, we see how much that helps. And, the schedule doesn't hurt you either this year as much as it does in other years.
And I agree with you that I think that this is one of the deeper teams that we've seen, definitely under Brian Vincent's era, but in a long time. I don't know how seasoned they are, but there's a lot of guys with a lot of experience, at least at the JUCO ranks, that should translate into having not necessarily a quality drop-off or a knowledge drop-off if that first person gets tired, hurt, whatever. But go ahead. Yeah. No, I was going to say, but it all kind of starts with the quarterback, right? I mean, third year, Aiden Armenta coming back. Out of these early scrimmages and the time you've spent out at practice, is that seasoning really there, or is this still kind of a battle between him and Austin Carlisle?
I think from what I've seen, I think it's going to be Aiden opening day. I don't know that there's much of a question about that at this point. I think being a college quarterback, a starting quarterback for the last season and a half, season and 3 quarters, whatever you want to call it, helps, gives him an advantage in that spot. And, we saw what he did the last 2 games last year. I still keep going back to that, what he did against Texas State and what he did down in Lafayette when they opened up the offense. They threw it around a little more, did some Nick Trujillo had the huge game in Lafayette too, a couple of touchdown catches, went over 100 yards receiving, and Aiden threw for over 300. I think they're going to start that way, but this year the difference is you have more quality depth behind him. Not that Hunter Herring wasn't a quality quarterback, but it also felt a bit gimmicky at times too with Hunter in there, and that he would run the ball. And I know he's capable of throwing it, but it just never felt like this coaching staff was necessarily comfortable with him running the same type of offense and whatnot that Aiden could do. I think, Austin Carlisle's kind of in that same vein. He can run a lot. But I think they feel better about his throwing ability than maybe they had in the past. Plus, then you got to remember too, Landon Graves is right in that mix as well. He looked, serviceable when he went out there against Southern Miss last year in that spot start when Aiden was hurt. And now he's got another year of experience too. But I love that quarterback room. Bryson Kimbrough looks better too. But he's, I think, clearly 4 on that chart. So man, it's depth. I love it. You got Ty Purdy, who ran Jesse Montalto's system at Iowa Central, that he's in this mix too among those backups. And so he's somebody that, I think while he's buried a little bit, he can probably help coach up guys and say, hey, this is how it's supposed to look. This is what you need to do. Got to do those things. So, man, this is, I think, an exciting quarterback room. I'll tell you this, Austin Carlisle, the talk about his speed and everything, just wait till you see it. It's something else. It pops off the page. It's, man, they're going to find a way to use him. They will find a way to use him, and I don't feel like it's going to be in the same vein that Hunter Herring was used. I think it's going to be a little different, and so I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what they roll out there against Mississippi State, but again, I think our true look at what this offense is going to be will probably be UAB, would be my guess, just based on how they've handled things the past couple of years when it comes to these kind of games. I think we get our first true look week 2 in Birmingham rather than week 1 in Starkville.
You talk about Montalto, you talk about the new offense, and I think that's a net positive for Aiden. What have you seen? What are the biggest differences you've seen? And do you agree with that statement that this is a good move for Aiden and his future?
I think the biggest difference I've seen is just the tempo of the offense. You remember the last couple of years, there's so many times that play clock's ticking down and they're burning timeouts, or they're having to take a delay of game if they're out of timeouts. And it doesn't feel like they've been approaching that. And I kind of watched that during the scrimmage too. How low is that play clock getting? And it never felt rushed. They weren't blazing fast like you see some teams go, but they were much more steady and felt clean anyway, getting to the line, getting the play in, everybody's on the same page. Here we go. And so I think that's the biggest difference with Jesse Montalto, is they've kind of got this communication ironed out and everybody's on the same page and rolling. So that's huge. I think you're going to see ULM use that quarterback run game a little more. It kind of feels like that's the background that Jesse Montalto has. I think you're going to see him open it up a little more too. I think there's going to be some differences, but I think it's kind of felt similar to the last couple of games of last year. And I think that's probably what everybody's looking at. I'm sure everybody on film is already looking at, what's Iowa Central been doing? They're trying to get their hands on that recruiting film that maybe they were looking at a kid from Iowa Central or something, but now they're trying to break down that offense as a whole. And I think they're also looking at the last couple of games of last year, because I think most everybody, you just look at the stat sheet and go, man, Aiden was different the last 2 games. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see when they roll it out there exactly how it looks. We've seen flashes here and there, but again, I think they're just trying to get basics down right now and get on that page. And I'm excited to see when they start to open it up a little more.
Right behind him in the backfield, the running back position, there's not really a featured back. It feels like it's going to be a running back by committee, and maybe that's the design because it's going to be a run heavy offense. Who's maybe some players that you've seen kind of stick out or shine even during these scrimmages?
That's something I wish I could shed more light on the running backs, but they have rotated so many guys with the 1s and the 2s that it's hard to just pick out somebody. And I think that's good. And maybe it's bad. I don't know, but I think it's good because you have that much depth that you feel comfortable with those guys rolling in and out of there. Don Chaney's gotten a lot of the headlines, of course, when you bring in a guy that played at Louisville, played at Miami. He sat out last year at Charlotte. He's a bigger back. He's going to be a guy that I think is kind of in that same vein of an Ahmad Hardy type, where he can be a big, bruising, punishing type of guy. But then beyond that, I mean, you like Derek Jameson's another veteran guy coming over from Utah State that has been through some of the fires before and has done all that. Trevin Kinchin, Georgia Military College transfer, comes in, and he's been in the mix too. Don't overlook, though, just because he's got Arkansas Tech next to his name. Don't overlook Bryson Rowland either. He's looked really good when he's had shots out there as well. He rushed, I believe, for over 1,000 yards at Arkansas Tech last year for the Wonder Boys. You got to work in Wonder Boys whenever you get a chance to do that. But man, it's not just him. There's several Division II, NAIA type guys on this team. And I like it because you get guys like that. They get to Division I and they have that chip on their shoulder that they want to prove they belong. They belong at this level. They were under-recruited. Whatever. To get to this point, they want to prove they deserve to be here. And I think you see that with a kid like Bryson Rowland. I think you're going to see that on the defensive line of the guy like Derek Omoreji, who was at Southern Connecticut State, sat out last year here when he got hurt, and now has a chance to get back in there. But guys that are getting that chance, I mean, we see it across different sports. And the best example in the Sun Belt has been South Alabama men's basketball. I know it's kind of apples and oranges here, but they have had teams filled with D2 NAIA guys the last several years, and Richie Riley's consistently had them at the top of the league. I think there's a way you can do it in football too. I think we're going to see it with ULM a little bit this year with some of those guys. So I'm excited. I think this is a deep running back room. It's more, I know I mentioned just a few names. It's more than just them and that have been running with the ones and twos. So, man, it's exciting to see that. The only downside is you wonder, man, is somebody just not taking the bull by the horns and going? And so I think, it reminds me, though, of 2 years ago. We entered the season in Bryant Vincent's first year not knowing who that guy in the backfield was going to be. It was kind of a three-headed monster, and then Ahmad Hardy took over and ran with it. You're kind of hoping that maybe that's the same thing as, maybe there's 4, maybe there's 5 guys right now, but maybe somebody's going to take over and become that bell cow by week 3, week 4, and put that season together. And we'll see what transpires the first couple of weeks in that regard.
I think you saw a little bit last year with Bam too, right? And how he took off and did a great thing. I think if that's something BV does well, is produce a feature back, right? Like create a feature back. I want to talk about the wide receiver room real fast, and then I want to talk about O-line. Okay, so don't let me forget, because I'm going to grill you on O-line because you need to watch.
Gee, why ever are you always interested in offensive line, Chase?
Well, Hammett goes in here. This is Hammett and I's 4th year now to work together. Can you believe that, Hammett? 4 years.
It's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And year 1, he didn't watch the O-line at all. Okay. I can confidently say he would BS his way through any question at all. But year 2 and year 3, he really started to take note. It was mainly because Fish was a dog. And you come down the sideline, you want to hear who's hurt or what's going on. And I'm just talking about offensive line down on the sideline. It's great radio. But first, I want to talk about the wide receiver room. We've got some names that we know, which is very comforting, right? Nick Trujillo, Buck Coulter, JP Coulter. I see a lot of social media hype about the Shreveport product and Clemson transfer Parker Fulham. Can you tell me, as you can tell I'm looking at your charts, can you tell me a little bit about how Parker's looked and if you think he'll enter this rotation there at receiver?
Yeah, just based on social media, Parker Fulgham is going to be one of the most popular players on this team. I think I did like a 1 and 15-second interview with him because the media availability is before practice and it's like right before they go stretch. And so you've only got, maybe like 90 seconds to talk to a kid. Yeah. And so I talked to Parker last week. That is over now, I believe, over 300 likes on Instagram for an account. Our radio account is slowly growing. It's only, I think, 72 followers now, but this has 300 plus likes on it. So, but Parker, awesome kid. And he even messaged the Instagram account too, sent us a direct message on there because I have spelled his name right everywhere, except I had one post I missed it, and he just said, "Hey, just wanted to let you know this is how my last name." He was very polite about it, and then he's like, "Just making sure this is how you pronounce my name too," and Fulgham. And I'm like, I said, "Okay, yeah, I got that. We're good." And no, I appreciate Parker. He's going to be fun. And it helps when they're good kids too, and I've always loved that across all the sports. When you got great young men out there, it makes them so much easier to pull for. Nick Trujillo, I had a chance to talk to him too. Nick's another one, man, great kid. I guess I'm like twice their age anymore now. I'm getting old, so I can call them kids, I guess. But JP Coulter's back. I think the biggest thing is having Nick Trujillo healthy for a full season. It took him a while to kind of knock that rust off last year. I think you could tell, and by the end of the year, he was a different receiver. And Brandon Buckhalter back healthy this year too, I think is going to make a difference. Don't forget about Javon Campbell too, because Javon was really starting to turn it on 2 years ago, tore his ACL at South Alabama, and then that knocked him out. I think he got into one game last year, but it pretty much erased his entire 2025 season too. He's back and healthy this year too, and adds some more speed on the edge there as well. So that's all great, but I think the guys you're going to watch for in that spot, guys that are pretty heralded JUCO recruits coming in. LT Robinson out of Hutchinson Community College put up great numbers there. Native Kansan, so near and dear to my heart as well from that regard. And then Marcellus Jackson, Itawamba Community College transfer. Those two guys have been fun to watch. They're shifty. I think they're kind of that X factor type of thing. And so I think those are guys that they were pretty well regarded coming out of the JUCO ranks. I think they're going to be fun to watch in their roles. So this receiver room, I feel like, has way more depth than it has, I think, out of any position. We talk about added depth across the board. I think receiver and kicker, of course, but receiver is that one spot where I feel like, man, that depth is really pronounced. It's really showing through, because I feel like, even beyond those guys I've mentioned, there's been a few more that have been rotating in. It's an exciting position. I think they finally have some true weapons out there, and that's, I think, been lacking a little bit the last couple of years. So hopefully some playmakers now on the outside for ULM.
And I want you to know, Mike, you're not alone. I got the DM on the X whenever I mispronounce it, so I now know it is Parker Fulgham. And
Google alerts.
He had the best line from the spring game that we had in a previous episode of "I'm just a white guy with glasses."
He's fun. He's going to be a lot of fun to follow. And I think what's really cool, and I think what makes him stand out, obviously being a North Louisiana guy, Shreveport native, I think just being at Clemson the last couple of years and being around those coaches, being around those athletes, oh man, I think he just absorbed what he could learn there. And I'm excited to see what he can do on the field this year for sure.
Well, you want to talk about exciting positions, right? And, we all know the most exciting position in football is left tackle. And our left tackle, when we keep talking about preseason accolades and hype and stuff, AJ Vincent's got a lot of hype around him. Have you watched him? And this is a time to be honest here, Hammett, because I'll break it down later if you haven't. But have you watched him? And do you think the hype is worth it this early?
I haven't focused on AJ necessarily, just because his position feels pretty locked in. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to watch where maybe some guys are rotating. And so when I can tell the ones are out there, I know AJ's there and he's been there every time. I'll see the number come out. I'm like, okay, we're good. I've been watching more interior. There's kind of been that battle at center a little bit. Drew Hutchinson's been in the mix, a kid that has hung around this program for a long time and paid his dues, a North Webster product, so North Louisiana guy. And then they brought in a transfer from Memphis, and Sean Duggery, I believe is how you pronounce that. I don't have the pronunciation guide yet. So Sean, I apologize, but if I said that wrong, but those guys send the DM. Yeah. Those guys have really been battling. And then, left guard too has been kind of one of those, or maybe I got it wrong, but I got one of the guard spots anyway. Roscoe Tucker. And I talked to him earlier this last week too, coming off injury last year. He had won the starting spot at guard and then got hurt and missed the year. And so he's coming off of injury still. He's been battling it out. Kaliam Croswell's been in battling at guard. Quintus Griffin's been in battling there. I mean, it's competition. And that is something that we haven't really seen the last couple of years. And competition makes guys get better. So I really hope that there's finally some depth on that offensive line, There's finally going to be guys pushing each other for those roles and get it going. I think it's going to make this team better. The offensive line is one of the question marks. I think the defensive line is another big one. And if they can be, satisfactory on the lines, I don't even think they have to be great. If they can just be okay, I think this team has a real chance. And so it's going to be on these guys pushing each other, making each other better. I think we've seen that a little bit on the line here through camp so far.
In addition to all the changes, how has BV been, knowing that he is just the head coach this year? He's not the offensive coordinator, the head coach, the AD, the president of the university, the provost, and everything in between.
And doing the play-by-play and all that. Yeah, he's, he's still intense. That's just who he is. But I think last year it just kind of felt like, everything was fighting for his attention. And this year you can just be the football coach. And I think he still has his finger on the pulse of what's going on around the athletic department. I still think he's somebody that, SJ consults and talks things over because Coach Vincent's got the lay of the land and all that, so I still think there's some of that going on a little bit, but I think overall, he's still an intense guy. He's still going to be out there getting after it, but at the same time, you can just tell it feels maybe more like it did 2 years ago than it did last year. Last year, you could just tell his head was spinning a little bit. He won't admit that, but man, there were so many things. It's such a hard job to do. I know it used to be commonplace, head coach, AD kind of did some things, but man, this era, you gotta be just the head coach. And I admire him for trying to take that on last year, and he did all he could with it. That's for sure. So, but I think it helps. I'm hoping it's going to help this team that he has just been, focused on this football team. I'm sure him and Coach Montalto have been collaborating quite a bit offensively. And, it gives him, I think, more time too to kind of watch what's been going on defensively with Coach Reffett and his group. And, and special teams wise too. I mean, it's exciting that there's kickers on the roster this year and they're healthy so far. So, knock on wood. So I think
he's true. There's like 5 of them.
There's at least 3 anyway, but yeah. So that's been fun to watch them, but man, it's good for Coach Vincent. I think. I hope the blood pressure has come down a little bit this fall.
See, you talk about his head spinning. I like to think that it was Holly just picked the wrong Zen up. She got too strong on him.
She got the 9s. I got a feeling he could take whatever he wants and nicotine straight to the face, and he'll be fine. That guy's just got an edge to him.
That being said, maybe head spinning is not the right term, but he certainly is being pulled in a lot of different directions last year. And when you're a head football coach, but you're also having to address, an issue of, hey, soccer needs this, or volleyball needs this, or, golf's doing this, or, oh, softball needs this for this fall tournament, or baseball needs this for their fall trip, or, man, it's just so many things that you don't need to be worrying about. And I think, I think he was more than willing to step up and take on that role, but I think he is also in a good spot now that he, you don't have to deal with that anymore.
Well, you mentioned the defense coordinator there, and you mentioned insane people, and that would be Troy Reffett there. And I see that you have adopted the 3-3-5 on the chart here. Has it utterly confused you? And has Reffett lost it and just started throwing things and screaming at people yet?
I haven't seen that.
If he hasn't yet, it's coming, I promise.
I haven't seen that yet, but that's where I think we've seen a lot of the speed change in this team is on the defensive side. Guys are just flying around, flying to the ball, creating havoc. And that, it concerns you a little bit in camp when you're watching the defense come up with turnovers and you're going, okay, is our offense bad? Is our defense good? What is this? And I think it's that the defense is good. I really do. I think these guys are just causing that chaos, confusion. They've added depth across the board. I think the secondary has a lot of depth. I feel like the defensive line has guys that are hungry to prove themselves because James Smith is the only guy back with any experience at ULM. So, and he's a guy, I can't believe it's already his 5th year. And another one, just like Drew Hutchinson on the offensive line, a guy that's been here 5 years, paid his dues. He's waiting for his moment. I think James Smith is going to get that this year too. I really do. So, you have guys that are hungry up front. You've got depth at linebacker when you got guys like Marcus Ross and Noah Fleming's in there, Jaden Callender too. You got guys that are back anyway, and so they kind of have an idea from the last few weeks of last year and then working all through the spring that, the last few weeks where Coach Ref was calling the defense last year, I think makes all the difference because they are already that far ahead on the install with guys that are coming back. So going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun defense to watch. I think, they're going to make some plays. They're going to turn some games on its head. The offense has to do a better job of taking care of the ball, but this defense has to do a better job of generating turnovers because ULM lost the turnover margin badly last year, and it wasn't just that the offense was turning it over. It was that the defense wasn't creating a lot of turnovers either. So I think you're going to see the offensive numbers. I think you're going to see the turnovers come down. I think defensively, you're going to see the turnovers come up. That's going to make a huge difference for a team that went 3-9. All of a sudden, you're talking about maybe you're getting to that 5-win. Maybe you're getting to that 6-win because you flipped that turnover margin. And I feel like Coach Reffitt's defense has that kind of ability. It's going to be fun to watch.
So we're 20-ish, 19-ish days, 17 days, depending on when you're listening to this and when it comes out. What do you, Mike Hammett, voice of the Warhawks, do to start getting ready for the football season?
I will tell you this year, it's been a little different. I feel like I'm behind. I feel like I'm way behind. And it has absolutely nothing to do with Mississippi State. I've actually got pretty much all my notes ready to go for week 1. I feel pretty good for going to Starkville. What worries me is what's looming in November with Ryan Cross and that basketball schedule and playing a Thursday night football game and all that. That's where my head, I'm going, oh boy, I'm behind, even though that's, little under 3 months away because we've got a stretch there. I think it's something in the neighborhood of 10 games in 16 days or something that I got to call. So I've already been in communication with some guys. I have the side job working for my company that makes my spotter charts. And I've already told them, I'm like, I got to have these basketball charts early. Like I got to be working on basketball in October or I am in trouble. If I don't have everything done, essentially ready to go, all I got to do is update for what they've done this season. I'm toast if I get to that point. And the same goes for those football games. Like I got to be ready for Arkansas State so I can just add in a couple notes. I got to be ready for Lafayette so I could just add in some notes. I got to be ready for App State so I could just add in some notes and go because I've got that 1 week in November. It starts at Arkansas State for football, November 7th. Basketball, if you haven't looked at the basketball schedule yet for the men in particular, go look at that because Monday at Texas A&M, Tuesday at TCU, Wednesday they fly to Phoenix. I've got to get back to Monroe for Thursday night football against Lafayette. Then I'm going to try to be at the airport 6 a.m. Friday morning, get to Phoenix, call basketball against Arizona State Friday night. They stay in the Metro, play Grand Canyon Saturday, fly back home, play Monday, get on the bus, go to Baton Rouge, play LSU Wednesday, come back home. I'm on a plane going to Boone on that Friday for the Warhawk football team to play App State. I'm insane. I am going to be so beyond stressed out during that stretch, but by God, is that going to be a great story to tell someday? So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I may sleep for a week straight after we get through all that, but it's going to be fun. So that's to tell you where I'm at now. I'm ready to go for Starkville. I've been working on UAB. I'm going to continue chipping away until I get to that point where I got a whole bunch of games to get ready for, and then it's just survival mode until December hits.
My offer stands still, Mike. Let's road trip to Aggie Land together.
There you go.
And then I will wish you well as you get on the bus to go see Chase.
Yeah, I was about to say, why don't you seriously? I mean,
there we go. I could go up to Dallas and then Chase. Yeah, ride with Chase back to Monroe for Thursday
because I'm going to leave
football.
the next day.
Right?
Yeah, so just come with me.
We'll have to discuss.
Really, I'll call you.
We'll have to discuss off air. Yeah.
Tibbs, I had a real, so Hammett was texting McGee and I about his hellacious.
I'm not cool enough to be in that group or to see the charts or anything. So yeah.
What you don't want is the game day texts that are just like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Why is nobody texting me back? Why is this not
Mike's puking in the press box. Josh, get up here now.
So Hammett was telling us, and McGee calls me and he's like, would you do play-by-play or would I do play-by-play if Hammett has like a travel discrepancy? And I said, McGee, I hope nobody listens to it, but I think I'm the one that would do it. And he's like, I think so too, man. I'm going to tell Mike that's what we should do. He should just take a day off, not do the game, and let you call it. And I said, well, I think our ratings would plummet, to be honest, or they'd skyrocket.
Or they would skyrocket.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. I'm not missing football. Football is priority until football is over. Just like at the end of basketball, basketball is a priority until the end of the tournament, and then I go to baseball. So baseball gets the short end of the stick because their season leads to summer. But you guys have tried bugging me to try to let you do basketball together, and I could take a night off. So
Hammett, that would be prime radio of McGee and I discussing basketball with no understanding of the pace of how to call it, with no training of play-by-play. It's very difficult to do. But him and I trying to figure out what's basketball. The only problem is to be like, McGee, what would you call that move right there? And he would just pause and say, I have no idea. Why would you ask me that?
But you got to find a way to mix in some good old Keith Richard so that you have the coaching perspective for it as well. But you got to call back to the radio station and be like, yeah, we probably need about a 3-minute delay on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. We need somebody live moderating that 100%.
I think Coach would be fine. I've thought about that, and I know I think he'd be interesting. I think that'd be a good 3-man crew, though. Let Chase and McGee and Coach, if Coach is up for it, let those three handle the broadcast. That Dallas Christian game in the middle of that hellacious stretch is probably about the right speed. That let them do that. I can take a Monday night off and then get ready to go to Baton Rouge and call the game at LSU.
Guys, I remember when we played these guys, they were terrible. Let me just tell you how terrible they were. Everyone's back on campus now, Mike. Is the excitement starting to kind of build as athletics kind of gets ready to get started? Soccer had their first game. Anthony Blackburn gets his first career win at the helm of the Warhawks with a 6-1 whooping of Alcorn State. Is it getting exciting, or is it still too early, even knowing that we got to wait till week 3 before we're back in the St. Francis Malone FMOL Stadium Bake One field?
Yeah, go ahead, Hammett. You're the one. I know you practiced this. Tell us what you're going to call it this year.
Old FMOL Health St. Francis Stadium. Yes. And one thing we've discovered, this is Corey Crow and I have been talking. He's like, nothing rhymes with FMOL Health St. Francis. What nickname are we supposed to give it now? So we'll have to work on that one. But man, I think it's getting there. That's the problem is my job. I work from home. I do a lot of this from home, but I've been on campus a bit more, and I think you can feel it. Move-in mania and all that is over, and everybody's settled in, and we'll get classes rolling. And I would have went to soccer, except it was 102 degrees, and they played at 1 PM. And I was like, and they're playing Alcorn. No, I'll pass. If they had played somebody else, somebody, where it's going to be a good match, I probably would have went. But Alcorn, I'm sitting there and I was just watching the live stats and I'm going, okay, score a goal. 28th minute. I'm like, why is it still scoreless? And I walked away, came back 15 minutes later, and it's 4-0. I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. Like the floodgates open. So, but I'm excited. I think soccer could be really good. I like Anthony Blackburn. He's got a great team. They added Julia Franco back to the mix too, one of those 5th-year rulings. So she's back. So, and she scored a goal today too. So, I think it's getting there. I think the excitement's there when you got a reigning conference champ in soccer. And I still think Coach Vincent does a great job. I know he was out at doing some of the move-in mania stuff and whatnot Saturday morning before the scrimmage. So he's drumming up support and trying to do that. And the band was out having their little preseason concert while the scrimmage was going on. And so, man, it's feeling like it. It stinks that, as we record this, the 16th of August, you still got over a month before the first home game, but you can feel it. If we could only get one little cold front to come through and not, take us from 105 to 95, you feel that nip in the air and, know that fall is here. So, man, I think it's getting exciting. We're going to have a lot of fun this year. I really believe that.
Here's what I hate, and maybe this should have been my later gripe to close the show out. Why can we not broadcast the defending Sun Belt Conference champs for soccer? I get that it's Alcorn, but if you want people to start buying into the hype and start supporting this program, you got to be able to see them.
Yeah, I don't know. That's I think it's a budget thing is what I would imagine. And so, but that being said, in the past, I'm pulling this up real quick. In the past, they haven't done anything though for soccer until it got to conference play.
Right.
And this year there's at least three.
Been.
Yeah. There's at least three this year for home games: Jackson State, Stephen F., Austin, and UAB. And so I think this was the only one. And I don't know, it could have something to do with, the production company. They do a lot of pageant stuff. They do a lot of stuff during the summer. And so maybe they just didn't have people for today. I don't know. But that appears to be the only one. So, but yeah, you're right. And you see so many other schools, they do everything. Every home event is on ESPN Plus, every last one of them. And so I know I heard from Ford Pemberton last year. He was frustrated that a lot of the early season baseball wasn't on. Well, historically it hasn't, because they only have the one truck, the one setup. They'd have to keep tearing down and moving and tearing down and moving. And I get it, budget standpoint and whatnot, it takes a lot. So, if folks want it, I guess go talk with the foundation, go talk with SJ, have those talks and bring your money to the table so they can get it done. But yeah, I'm with you. You're the defending Sun Belt champs. Same with softball. Softball will probably have some games that aren't on, but they're the defending Sun Belt champs. They should be on. And so those are the problems you face. And, it's above my pay grade. I don't, other than the simulcast with baseball, I don't do a lot with ESPN Plus. So it's a great question. I don't have much for answers for you, though.
And meanwhile, on a Sunday afternoon, I was watching Southern Miss at McNeese women's soccer.
But that's Mike, where I'm glad I've got MLB. I got the whole MLB TV package. So I was watching. I think I was Tigers and White Sox until the Royals finally started. But yeah,
they're still playing baseball.
They're still playing baseball.
Nothing about baseball.
Are they almost done? I thought they just had the World Series.
No.
Playoffs started.
No,
nothing. They just had the All-Star break.
Yes.
Yeah, like a month ago. But yeah.
The Little League World Series is starting later this week, Chase.
I saw there's some drama about that, too.
Yeah, your boys in Oklahoma were cheating.
That's right, yeah.
I heard you were the one that was actually out there.
There's not a lot of love between Texans and Oklahomans, no. I got no love for those people.
So, Mike, always loved the rumor mill. Have you heard that in addition to FMOL Health St. Francis Stadium and B1 Bank Fant Coliseum, that Warhawk Field, the lovely Lou, could be adding to the branding this upcoming season?
I've heard they're working on it. I haven't heard a potential name or anything like that. I do remember our now departed general manager, Chris Ferris, with Van Wagner College. His last day was this past Friday. So position open, by the way. So I do remember him when he was telling me that the stadium was coming to FMOL Health St. Francis and that B1 Bank was going to Fant. And he said, I'm still working on baseball. And I remember telling him, and now he's gone. And I'm sure they all know this, but it's like, it needs to be Lou Sandoval Field at whatever stadium. I said, you can't take Lou's name off of that. So with everything Lou did, as a coach at ULM and NLU, and then just the role he had in the renovations and everything that went on there a few years back, that you can't take his name off of that. So just so they know, it'll always be the Lou. It'll be Lou Sandomal Field at whatever stadium. I'm good with that. But just don't take his name off of it. Not yet. No, not time for that.
I mean, it's etched into the pads in center field, so it'll be there a while, at least until it fades.
Until it fades, and they can take those pads off and add at whatever, just like NFL, Mile High at whatever field, or however they do it. But they still have Mile High on Denver's name, and it was always, whatever field at Arrowhead Stadium, and there's ways to do it, so they'll get it figured out.
I still want the Fireball sponsorship for every venue as well. And SJ, you got to get that done. Mike, can't thank you enough as always, taking time out of your busy schedule. Any great summer stories you have for us as we wrap up this episode?
Nothing too crazy this year. Went to Kansas a couple times, go see family. Big family trip with the in-laws to Tennessee back in July. 22 of us in one of those cabins for a whole week in Pigeon Forge, but it was a lot of fun. I love my in-laws. I'm very lucky. That's a great group of people to spend a week in a cabin with. And so that was fun, but went to a Rocket City Trash Pandas game on the way home. Got hooked up with free tickets thanks to former ESPN Plus ULM voice Chris Harris, who's now with the Trash Pandas. Got us some free tickets for that one. So and parking. So got in and spent our money on concessions and apparel. So that was a good time, and highly recommended. That was a lot of fun. I've never been to a minor league game before, and just all the stuff going on. I didn't watch much of the game, but man, the kids were entertained, and that was worth it. So a lot of fun. Now it's back to the grindstone and get after it. And I'm so looking forward to this year, because I love the depth, love the speed, love all that with football. Ryan Cross's basketball is going to be a different looking bunch this year. It's going to be a lot of fun too. And then, I've started to hear some about the additions Ford Pemberton's made in baseball. Like it's a good time. It's been coming. I think we've talked before about, you could see it on the women's side. If you're just a casual, you don't see soccer winning a regular season title and softball winning a regular season title and women's golf doing what they did. It's been coming. It's just been on that part of it. And I think we're going to start to see it come in to those sports that get all the attention, the football, the men's basketballs, the, women's basketball. Scotty's got a good thing going too. I think they take another step, and then baseball. I think we got a good year ahead. I really do.
Chase, what do you have to close us out?
I'm just a bone to pick real fast, Mike. He mentions all that. He doesn't mention the hours and hours and probably 100+ hours he will spend in a car with me this year. And it hurt me a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm real excited for my fourth year here. And it's going to be a wonderful year. I'm excited similar to you, Mike. I'm excited for the depth on this team. Excited for some new looks offensively and defensively. I'm excited for some storage containers there on the ends of the fields. They look very cool. That's not me hating. I think they look very cool. I'm very excited.
It's unique. That's the biggest thing. It's unique, absolutely. And I love it. Yeah. I
love the concept of trying something out. Why not?
Yeah.
I wish we would have pulled the who did this? Akron did this, where they sold the first drive.
Yeah. That's a good one.
That would have been cool. I think over Bryant Benson's dead body, but that would have been very cool.
Well, I do look forward to those road trips. People ask me all the time, well, what's your favorite of the three? Man, I don't have a favorite, because there are so many positives about all three of them. Like baseball, I don't get to know the players better in any sport than I do baseball. Like I get to know those guys. I'm around them all the time. I love baseball from that regard. Basketball was my favorite sport growing up. I wanted to be a college basketball player, play in the NBA. I was that delusional as a kid, but that was my sport. That's what I wanted to do as a kid. And so I love basketball from that regard. But football, man, oh man, like it's, football's fun. Football in and of itself, I love football, but to work with a crew and to build the relationships that we have, I mean, I couldn't work with a better group. I don't just say that because Chase is on this call. I'd say that anyway. I got Chase, I got Mike McGee, I got Josh McGee coming back for another year. I'm fired up to not have to search for a women's basketball voice for the 5th consecutive year.
And he does a great job too.
He does a great job too. And then Corey, God love him. I've told him he's not going anywhere as long as I'm here, and it's true because he knows so much. And I can't wait for when Mike McGee lets loose on him again by the end of the season. So it'll happen.
And then you're going to call 3 months later. Should I apologize, Corey? Yeah, you should apologize 3 months ago. What are you talking about? Yeah. I thought when you said my favorite 3, I thought you meant myself, Mike, and Corey. And I was about to say, Hammett, it's got to be McGee's got to be the easiest one to hang out with there. Absolutely.
Let me tell you about Mike McGee. The one time that I went to dinner with y'all was at Coastal. I now have a complex every time I've had wine that I have to fix my hand every time. And every time I can just picture him staring at me. So
yeah, he'll let it go too. He won't let you, like, if you grab that thing if you grab it by the, I don't know, the globe part of it, not the stem, he will yell in the middle of a restaurant, "What are you doing?"
Mike McGee's sommelier school. I love it.
Sommelier. He is certified. He drinks some damn good wine too. I'll tell you what, boys.
Scares the hell out of me. Chase, it was so much fun. We'll do it again. Mike, thanks for stopping by.
See you soon.
Thanks for having me.
So what are you proposing?
It's simple.
Perhaps you should read the instructions first.
If you liked the show, like and subscribe wherever you stream podcast.
Is that good for us or bad for us?
Follow us on X at Warhawk_report. Like us on Facebook at Warhawk Report, and click the subscribe button on YouTube for Funbelt Podcast.
He's done! Done? Mm-hmm. It's only been an hour.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.